Yo, what is up guys? Just wanted to bring you a quick video on all of the balance changes coming February for Clash Royale, and just give you some of my remarks as well. So this page kind of spoils it for you guys all. As you can see, we got Knight, Golem Giant, Firecracker, Archers, and I don't know bro what card that is, Monk getting buffed, and we have Tornado, Bird, and Archqueen getting nerfed, and Rocket. And the Tornado nerf is kind of a buff, low key. So yeah, I'm just gonna go for the more interesting stuff first, because you guys probably be reading all over. But yeah, so the Tornado, it's listed as a nerf, but it's really a buff, and it takes 2 ticks to kill skeletons, and the main repercussion of that, of course, is that it's gonna activate King Tower off graveyards, and also really like even like off of Witch or anything. But yeah, mainly graveyards, and I think this is just a massive nerf to graveyard, not really the Tornado. And I can't see how I can see how it can be annoying for 2 ticks to kill skeletons, especially if people can put skeletons earlier now if you're pre-tornadoing and stuff like that. So it is, I think, a nerf to the Tornado, but overall against graveyard players it's a buff, and it's a massive nerf to graveyard. And this means that a whole slew of decks are now going to be countering graveyard. So, and I think this is justified because graveyard's been really strong for forever now, and I feel like it's always had a very safe spot in the meta regardless of what it is. You can adapt it, and there's always like a bunch of different variations, and they're all good, and honestly, so like well deserved. Maybe there'll be one season of graveyard being bad. They might undo this change, I wouldn't even be surprised. But yeah, I mean, Tornado's only probably in like 10 to 15% of decks, so it's not going to be that big of a change ultimately for graveyard. Alright, yeah, moving on, we got nerfs. We also got the Queen getting nerfed. The first hit is now slower, and I think this is not really going to change anything. It's going to stop getting those like really slimy hits. I don't know if you guys know, if a 2-shot Queen crosses the bridge, it usually does not get a hit, I want to say, if it's like on the edge of it. But if it walks down straight down the middle, and it actually slimes 1 hit on your tower if it's 2-tap, but sometimes it doesn't, and it really just depends, I think, kind of the angle of approach. And I've seen it gone both ways. I can usually predict which one it is, but this will stop that completely and making it not get that attack. And I mean, it's going to be a slight nerf, right? It's going to start dealing damage a bit slower, but overall the Queen is still going to be super strong, and this is not really significant to take her out of the meta. She's definitely still an S tier card, and top 3. I mean, maybe the best, probably definitely top 3 best cards in the game still, even after this nerf. Yeah, what is this, like the 4th nerf to Queen? Reborn Phoenix HP. So Phoenix is very interesting because they are changing the animation of the Phoenix along with the health and damage of the Reborn Phoenix is going to be slightly smaller, actually significantly smaller. It's more than a 20% decrease in size, I would say. But yeah, so this is going to be a big nerf to Phoenix. I still think a lot of people are going to be using Phoenix, and partially because they're just going to latch on and hope that it's the OP, and partially because it's not going to be that bad. Like, it's not going to take it, I don't think it's going to take it too far out the meta. Like, the DPS of the original Phoenix is crazy, and it's still going to respawn. And yeah, I mean, dare I say, I think it's still going to be kind of OP or kind of strong. I haven't really played with Phoenix. I don't struggle with it too much, but the DPS is really annoying, and it's not a problem per se until it's a problem, if you know what I mean. You know, it's like if it doesn't respawn, you're chilling, but then when it does respawn, it's like, bruh, kill me now. So yeah, good nerf to Phoenix. I think it's a solid. Don't know if it'll be enough. Hopefully it is. Lastly, on the nerf list, we got Rocket. Very big change for a lot of players. Like, some cycle decks are just like gone now. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen to like Icepo, but yeah, so the Rocket Tower damage is getting reduced. It's going to be 25% of the original value, which is going to remove 1/6 of all the total damage it does. So instead of like 591, it's going to be doing like 490, who knows, like 493 probably. Just did it in my head, I guess. And then it's gonna be less than 500, and yeah, it's gonna be tough to close out games now. And I still think Rock Cycle players are gonna be there. I do think it's kind of like stupid OP, which is super funny because it hasn't been nerfed in like forever, and it's been like kind of like OP. And I mean, that's what some otherwise like weak decks have been holding on to, is the Rocket. And kind of pretty direct nerf to log bait, I'd say, because I mean log bait decks need Rocket. I mean, that's what they've been relying on forever. So I'm just happy this transitions us into our buffs, that the archers are getting buffed with the knight, and I'm hoping this brings back 3.0, because otherwise this is a big hit to Expo. But moving on, first of all, we get a knight, 6% HP buff. Not really justified. I could see 3%. I don't quite understand if they think he's weak. I think they just think the usage rates are low, and I guess the win rates aren't great, but the usage rates are low. And I mean, I've said this before, it's because they look at the other cards on here. One card goes invisible and like nukes everything. One card reflects logs and projectiles. Another card like respawns. Like, they made all these crazy cards in Clash Royale. Like, for 3 elixir you can get a card that dashes, you can get a card that goes invisible, you can get a card that spawns on a tower. It's like, for 3 elixir, nobody's gonna want to play a card like the Knight. But I guess whatever, we'll take the 6% buff. I think a 3% would have been maybe better. I do think Knight's gonna be super strong now in Expo, so no one's gonna use Valkyrie unless like the meta shifts, and I don't see it really shifting into like the Royal Hogs direction at all, because there's nothing here that affects Royal Hogs. And yeah, so Knight buff, kind of unexpected. Did not think that, yeah, sure, it's weak, but I did not think Supercell was going to touch that, especially considering how they usually are towards I guess players like that. I mean, second big buff to Expo is archers, and guys, this is crazy. 22% DPS. That is insane. 0.9 shot speed. Not only is it 22% DPS, it's also like, because it's hitting faster, the damage is more efficient, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, an Expo can out damage a P.E.K.K.A or mini P.E.K.K.A if it's fighting a graveyard, because they're like, the shots do so little damage and it switches targets fast. Same with the archers. They're going to be switching targets so fast. They're going to be doing so much damage. I do not see this change going through. I've yet to look to see how the community responds to this, but I feel like it's just, there's no way that people are going to think that's all right for archers. I guess everyone's going to be running arrows, especially with the firecracker buff as well. Guys, I feel like arrows are becoming more and more meta every single season. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, so the archers, crazy DPS. I mean, like, lava hounds are going to get melted, giants are going to get melted. And I do think archers are weak, but I did not expect the buff of this size, especially from Supercell. Dare I say, I think it's going to be too much. Of course, the Expo isn't getting buffed. I think the Expo itself needs a little bit of a damage buff, in my opinion. And just like 3%, just give me anything. But like, I mean, as a support unit, there's a few support units that go well with Expo, and archers are one of them. And yeah, I mean, this is monumental. I definitely think 3.0 is going to be super strong, purely based on the damage and health increase of these balance changes. I just don't see it not being so much better than it has been. And I feel like Expo's been on the rise. It's been really decent this season, I would say. But yeah, so kind of crazy change. I do think it's going to get reduced, but I'm still excited for any sort of buff to the archers, because honestly, I've learned not to expect that from Supercell. Alright, and then we got 3 more cards. We'll go with the Monk. The Monk's been, right, I mean, I think everybody just hates the Monk, but they killed the card, thank God, and now they're buffing the damage, which is fine. I don't think it's going to make that big of a comeback, because I think for 5 elixir, nobody really wants a like a hero like that for 5 elixir anymore, and which is cool, and because it completely counters Expo. So, but yeah, the damage is like the damage is still nuts. It's just that it's 5 elixirs, like, it's such a big difference from 4, and that it's like it's not, the card's not really going to make a comeback, and the ability is like a bit too awkward to use. I mean, it's really good in some cases, but like, it's not guaranteed value like the Queen is every time. And It's replacing the mini tank in most decks, so it's like it's kind of like just an awkward card for 5 elixir. Like 5 elixir cards usually have like, you can look at it, like crazy features on them, like bowler pushes stuff back. You got the cannon card, super high damage with the range on it and high health, like all around good card. Witch spawn stuff, I don't know. I just don't think that this card can provide value very well, so I don't think the monk is going to come back too much, but it's a good buff. It's a step in the right direction for that card, so good job to Supercell on that. Finally a firecracker buff, thank the Lord. The first shot, I think Dargob shot speed is 0.7. The first shot is going to be faster than a Dargob, so it's going to drop, pop. It's literally going to go drop, pop. It's going to like boop, boop. And I guess it's kind of hype because the first shot is going to be super critical, and on top of that, it's going to be like magic archer type utility, because you know you can like hog and then like put it behind it and then predict something, and if they, as soon as it sees it, it's going to shoot. There's going to be no time to react. As to before, like you could probably honestly, like if you see it, you could probably like zap it before it shoots if you're like fast, literally. Not that they would like kill it, but it would retarget. The point is, like, it shoots super slow, and unless it directly unlocks, you can like make it retarget. But yeah, so really good buff. I don't know how it's gonna, in my understanding, it's not gonna change anything after the first hit. And I mean, if it's retargeting onto a different unit, if the unit dies, I don't think it changes the hit speed. But then if it walks, it does change the hit speed, I think. So I think if it walks a little bit in between, the first hit speed is fast. So I don't know. I would have to see this card in game to see how big of a nerf or a buff this is. And I honestly don't think overall that it's going to bring it back too much. It would be nice if it brought back the firecracker a little bit, but I don't think it will. Maybe it wouldn't be nice. I just haven't seen it in a while. Maybe I forgot how annoying it is. But the Firecracker Hog EQ decks are really fun to play, so step in the right direction once again. Overall, pretty good balance update in my opinion. Last but not least, we got the Spirit Goblin's hit time while in the backpack is going down to 1.5 seconds from 1.7. It's going to add some DPS to the Goblin Giant. I think that's fair. I think like just like a 3% buff to the Goblin Giant's health would have been sufficient. I don't think the damage is really what the Goblin Giant is looking for. I think you mess around the damage, that can mess up a lot of things in terms of its balance. It starts doing way too much damage on defense. Like it could become cracked. But yeah, I don't think that's necessarily gonna happen in this case. And I don't know. I feel like Goblin has like kind of been balanced the whole time, but I do feel like it's been weak this meta because of the whole like deck archetype, not the card itself necessarily, but yeah. Again, I agree with the. I think it's a step in the right direction once again. I do agree, but yeah, overall, guys, I'm gonna give this, like, I'm gonna start rating these updates, like, out of 10. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. No, I'm gonna give it a 7. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Because, pretty much nothing dumb is happening here. But, I mean, it's far from perfect. I mean, I wish they could just buff, like, 15 or 20 cards instead of, like, only 9. And, none of these do I disagree with. I'll say all these are moving within the right direction. Even though I'm biased because I like Rocket and I like Archers and I like Knight, and Rocket's getting nerfed and Archers getting buffed, ambiguously speaking, it's or not ambiguously, but like, you know, whatever the word is, if I reserve my personal preferences, the Queen is fair, the Rocket nerf is fair, definitely the Bird is fair. One thing they don't address though is the freaking Golden Knight with its OP dash. They just need to fix the dash. Please fix the dash. Holy cow, it's OP. They cannot, like, these heroes are gonna keep getting balanced and rebalanced every single like update. Like, we're getting 2 in this one, 2 in the last one. I mean, it's just gonna keep happening over and over again. They're never gonna be balanced, I feel like, and I'm really kind of worried that they're trying to make heroes like a staple in decks, and it's like, I don't want every deck to have a hero in it necessarily. I don't want it to be OP. That'll make the game boring and stale because there's like 4 of them or 5. Yes, they should have. I mean, Queen's been so good for so long. I don't see what like, if you over nerf it, okay, buff it in 1 month. It's gonna be bad for 1 month. Like, it's been broken for a year. I mean, granted, I use Queen, but like, yeah, they should like nerf the Queen more. But they need to address like the Gold Knight. I've heard people complain about like minor mortar still, which I think, yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know. Mortar could use a little bit of a nerf again. Zappies need a nerf in my opinion because the defense is just crazy. The defense is crazy off the Zappies. Something like the RG decks or the Royal Recruit decks kind of seem like unfair, but overall I think the game is actually like more or less balanced this meta. But I think RG could use a small nerf. Zappies could use a small nerf. I think RG is just really strong in the meta right now, but maybe I'm biased. Overall, nothing's like the Phoenix is really broken right now, obviously, right? And the Queen's really broken. The Queen nerf is not enough, but I guess they thought they were doing something with that. So, and the Archer's buff is ridiculous again. So that's not why it's at a 7 because they're doing too much right now. You know what I mean? But I personally like that because it helps me, and this has never happened before. So thank you, Supercell. Praise the Lord. And yeah, I mean that's it for the update. Let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't wait. And as soon as the update drops, I will be playing 3.0 and showing you all the new interactions that kind of pop up and how the cards interact. All right, peace, guys. See you in the next one.